Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So it's that time of week again. It's our usual Friday night live, and I'm joining you again across TikTok and on YouTube. So I hope you're all keeping well. I hope life is good with you. I've had a couple of nice little surprises that have turned up in the post for me. Um, so a couple of weeks ago, there was a really nice guy up on one of the comments, and he offered some low-cut plants. Now, low-cut something that I've wanted for a while. There's a couple of trees that or fruit trees that I've wanted for a while. Low-cut is one of them, and he brought those in. Well, he posted me those, and that's a really special treat. So I'm looking forward to getting those potted up. I've got them. I've got them just sat outside my front door at the moment, but hopefully some time to pot those up, and we'll have some low cuts growing in the next few years. So it's really exciting. And there's another thing. Some Ali, he comes onto live quite a bit. He sent me some purple heartthrob tomato seeds. That's going to be a nice one to grow as well. So let's see who's coming in. Karen, how are you doing? Ben, how are you doing, mate? I'll have you know my garden's been worse. Ben, see, these are one of these comments that I get quite a bit, and these are the type of comments that really bugs me, because some I get this. I've had this a few times, and some are from because people don't understand what I'm doing, and or they don't understand the context of what we're doing. Now, if everyone who's in the UK realizes we've just gone through a couple of major storms, branches, things have been smashed all over the place, and my gardens had arches and wrecked, my shed doors, loads of things that we had planted, plant pots. We had this wooden frame that we had plant pots planted on, something that I built for my wife last year. That's been smashed, so everything's all over the place. So the garden, it's sodden as anything. The soil is still squelching when you step on it. It's that saturated. So it's very muddy. It's very messy. It's going to take me at least a good few months before I can get it sorted, especially with the amount of time I've got at the minute. So it's a lot of work at the minute. But when people come on, someone left me a comment on one of my last videos, please tidy your mess, and then they started off with preaching, and they were almost using I don't want to get into it, but what they were doing, but it just really got to me. It really bugs me when people talk like that, because we've had a few of those. I mean, I recycle a lot, so if I find something that's going to be, I might not have a use for it today, but I'm going to be able to use it in a couple of months' time, I'll grab it. If I find some material, I'll grab it, I'll bring it home, I'll store it, and I'll use it when I'm ready. So at the moment I'm collecting bricks, and when you guys see the brick project that I'm going to be working on, I'm collecting loads and loads of recycled bricks. So I'm bringing those recycled bricks home, and we're going to be storing those. I'm going to be turning those into something. Oh wow, someone's making my TikTok flash and buzz. I'm not sure what happened there, but thank you very much, Lal Tufan. So you made my TikTok go flashy, so I appreciate that. But what I'm saying is I'm collecting loads and loads of stuff at the minute, and loads of recycled bricks, loads of recycled breeze blocks, bringing those home. So they're piled up all over the place. And when I get onto my new greenhouse, yeah, it'll look quite good. But resources, I just collect them until I'm ready to use them. So yeah. And I don't like wasting money in the garden. There's lots of things that things that take priority when it comes to money, and my garden isn't one of the things that I like spending money on, because there's so when with one of the whole things about this YouTube channel is trying to teach people and trying to share with people how you can garden on pretty much zero budget. So over the course of the last 10 years, apart from a couple of major structural things that I've done, like pay for the plastic on the greenhouse, I'd probably spend what one of these celebrity gardeners or one of these TV gardeners will spend in a season. Over the last 10 years, I haven't sort of racked up that kind of bill. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, and a lot of people can, appreciate the fact that we work on tight budgets and we build something on a tight budget, and enjoy the garden despite spending very little on it, and get a lot out of the soil and get a lot out of the garden. And people miss that message sometimes, and they come on with, "Oh, it's not a pretty boy garden." I'm not a pretty boy myself, so yeah, I'm not going to turn the garden's not going to be much prettier. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So it's just those kind of things that just get on my nerves a little bit. So there's loquats where I work. The squirrels always spoil them before I get a chance. Oh, do they completely wreck them all? Don't crop me now. Graham, Ali, Anita, thanks everyone for coming in. Hope you're all keeping well. Who have we got over on TikTok? Laltufan dropped, made my TikTok go wild for a second, making it tick, ching and chong, making some quite nice noises. So I'm a proper skinner. Graham, exactly. That's exactly what I'm about, Ali walaikum salam. I got my seed potatoes. Foolish, I didn't check they're quite small. Is it okay? Should I return the like ping pong balls? No, that's a good size. Sort of ping pong ball egg size. That's perfect size. No, that's a really good size for your seed potato. I'll be honest, I don't like planting big potatoes. If you've got a big seed potato, I'd tend to cut it in half, so you have two seed potatoes from that same one. As long as there's an eye on each one, yeah, you get them to you get two plants, and they still produce well as long as you feed the plant and you look after the plant. They'll still produce well. So smaller seed potatoes are as long as they're not too small. If they're the size of like peas or something like that, then that's a problem. But as a ping pong ball, I think is a good size. So I can relate to that either. Exactly, that's what I'm on about. You're a great gardener and campaigner. Thank you very much, Sarah. Assalamu alaikum. Rob, how are you doing? Derek, hope you're keeping well. Sunflower, anyone else who's over there? We've got Soul joining, we've got people joining and dropping out on TikTok. That's fine. So let's see some comments. Rob, how are you doing, man? Derek, hope you're keeping well. Sunflower, nothing wrong with recycling. I use water bottles to grow veggies. See, I use water bottles, milk bottles. 2 litre milk? The 2 litre milk bottles are brilliant because if you cut them in half, you've got that square base, and because they're square, you can stack a lot more on a seed tray. Together, so I like that. They take a few bites out of them and leave them on the tree before they're up. Can you net them? Because from the way the fruit trees are they your trees or are they just wild trees? Because if you can net them, and I'm getting messages. Let's turn that thing off. Let's go silent. There we go. So if you can net them, I remember when I was visiting the Middle East, I saw with dates. They've got just like a sleeve net that just slots over the dates, over the fresh fruit, just as they're ripening. So I've got Desiree and another first early. Desiree, I love Desiree. That's my favorite potato to grow. Pentland Javelin. Pentland Javelin are okay, but I really like Desiree. That's the one potato I love more than anything else. I like King Edwards. Are the King Edwards the pink and white ones? Yeah, on the mend. Graham, how are you feeling? I'm glad it's not as serious as we first thought. Maliha Hamid, what shall I do if my house doesn't get much sunlight? Will my seeds now sprout indoors? When you say they don't, so to sprout seeds, you don't need light. Okay, seeds will germinate quite well, a lot of them quite comfortably well in the dark. It's once they've germinated that you need as much light as you can give them. If you're talking about your house and not your garden, inside your house, if you haven't got a sunny windowsill, then depending on the plant, it might be better to delay your planting. But if you can afford to, then investing some kind of grow light will really help. The sort of square ones that that I've got, or a lot of other gardeners have got, they're quite expensive. What you can do nowadays for about £10 or £15 is get a light bulb that'll fit into the ordinary desk lamp or ordinary existing lamp fitting, and just use that to grow your plants. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them on eBay, you can get them on pretty much. They're really common now. A lot of people, I think, did you have one of those last year? There's someone who comes into the chat who used one of those bulbs last year and did really well with it. Yeah, so just one of those bulbs, you can just fit it into an existing light fitting and just use that, and it just gives it that extra little, gives it everything it needs. And because they're LED, they're using really low amounts of electricity as well. Seema, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Derek, even though enjoyed your winter planting video, still a bit cold here in Germany, -5. You're a little bit colder than we are. I think we're a little bit warmer than that. The range has potato 3 bags, £5. How big are the bags? And I haven't been to the range. Is there a range in Leeds? I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. Rob, cold isn't the word, mate. It's freezing -6. Is it? Because I saw, every now and then you see some articles in I think it's the Express. Every few months you'll see an article. Snowstorms are about to hit and really sensationalized. So if it's really going to be cold like that, then it might be something to watch out for. But sometimes you get the headlines can be a little bit sensational. Guys, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like for me as you're coming in, that would be really good. School trees, I could net them, but I probably wouldn't be there in August to enjoy them. Okay, so it'll be summer holidays when you get that. Ranges in Hunslet by IKEA. Okay. Cheers, Bob. Bob, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I use LED lights off eBay, got guava seedling. Oh, Ben, you're a man after my own heart when you talk about guava seedlings, man. I'm thinking of going into hibernation. The only person, me being a skip rat, is the place that it has the place to comment is my husband. As if I find stuff, he has to build with it. See, I can't help going past a skip and not having a good look into it. Whenever I see a skip, I have to have a good mooch around in it. Just before I came onto live, I was out leafleting, right? And there's a street that I was leafleting on. It's quite a busy street, but I'm going to be heading down there this weekend because I've seen loads of fallen branches. They're blocking the path and all of that. So I'm going to just go and grab all those broken branches and all that sort of stuff and stick them in the back of my boot and bring them home. It's going to be wood for my wood burner, but it's going to be it's going to be wood for my wood burner, but I'm going to be doing a service for everyone else and clearing up the footpath. Coping, but not up to much. The, so Zuleika, be growing your land. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I hope those locals. Uh, yeah, I was just talking about those. The first thing I was talking about on those on the live today was those low quotes actually. And I was talking about the purple heartthrobs that Ali sent me. Yeah, those low quotes. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to them. They came through as really nice plants. So Jazakallah, I really appreciate you sending me them through. Um, So I'm on a mission tomorrow. Scared me on a few. Yeah, I'm Graham. I'm see when they tell you things like that and scare you. I'm glad that they've got to the bottom of it, but scaring you like that, it's a little bit. What's the word? But I'm glad that you're gonna be all right and you're gonna be fighting fit again. Maliha, not a problem at all. Barakallah Feek. There was an indoor farm across the road from me after the police let themselves into the house next door. 200 empty plant pots, bamboo, and nice bin appeared on the road. See, have you seen those? Not the fabric containers that I've got in my garden. So there was a guy advertised on Facebook. He'd bought a house he'd bought a house and it had been raided by the police. And I went and brought probably about 50 bags full of cocoa coir and those lekker clay balls, um, loads of bamboo canes, some netting, a few other little bits and bobs. But yeah, I just went and helped myself to as much as I could fit in my car. Um, I couldn't manage a second trip. I couldn't find the time to do a second trip. But yeah, I brought all that home. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I've still got it stacked in. I've still got some of it stacked in certain places. But what I'm thinking is, if I separate the cocoa coir out from the lekker balls, it's going to take some time. Probably sift it, and then I can use those cocoa, you know, the lekker balls, lekker clay balls to set up an aquaponics. They're doing some work in the building, you know, that I've got my office in, and they're bringing out these big sump tanks, so that some kind of rainwater collection tanks. They're going to be doing some work over the next few months. And when they bring those tanks out, one of the workmen said that I could have a couple. And if I get a couple of those, then I'm setting up like a nice big aquaponics section somewhere in my garden, because they're about 4 foot long, about 10 inches deep, and about a foot and a bit wide. So they're perfect. They're perfect. They're not as big as a bathtub, so they're the perfect sort of size for a nice grow bed. And if you fill them with loads of lekker balls, and I could just use that as the filter for the pond, and then use that to grow in. I'm already getting excited about it. Do you know when I'm thinking about it? Uh, about 8 potatoes in each bag. They have loads of Wilco gardening stuff, even seeds. I was gonna buy Johnston's sun gold tomato seeds. Johnson's is amazing. Is that price is amazingly high, man? It's amazingly high. 8 potatoes in each bag. So see, that's a bit expensive, you know, because you know you could at Wilco's you could get 3.5, about 2.5 kilo for £3 or something like that. I've 12 lights. Most of them are Spider Farmer. See, I've got one light that's plenty good enough for me. I've got a large water barrel if interested. I've got water butts. I need to sort out the guttering on the shed, on the greenhouse, and so I might be, Bob. I'll give you a shout. Let me finish off what I'm doing. I might be. Um, I still haven't finished off the guttering on the greenhouse. Yeah. I've got 3 types of guava from Jurassic plants. They're underwhelming for the price, but they're not dear. Will be wild before I can enjoy them. See, from Jurassic plants, I got what they called. Not what they called, man. Um, Sharon fruit. I've got a couple of Sharon fruit, and it was one of the first videos that I did on YouTube. Was potting up these Sharon fruit trees, and the thing about Sharon fruit roots, the tree roots, is the roots are actually, normally you get roots and they're white or they're sort of grey color or a browny color. The roots on Sharon fruit trees, they're black. Um, so I was really surprised when I saw them, and they came through as just like a little tiny twig with a few scraggly bits of root on them. But now they've actually grown into some. 4 years later, they've actually grown into some nice young decent trees. So I planted one out last year. I need to find another space to plant this other one out. I want some more trees in the garden. I want some more fruit trees, but the garden's just not big enough for them all. Um, so I haven't had any fruit set yet, but the flower petals are edible. Like a slice of bread. That's interesting. 300 massive jars for preserving had to re. I've seen a lot of drop trees just near a main road. What is the legality of taking some small branches on or turn them into wood chips? See, the small branches depends. When you say dropped, have they been blown over by the wind? So if they're on private land, right, you should ask you should ask the landowner's permission because they're his trees at the end of the day. But if they're on sort of council land or on public land, technically we're not allowed to forage for wood anymore. You're not allowed to take home wood. It's They passed a law a long time ago that prohibits ordinary people from taking trees and branches from wherever you find them. But most, like, we rang up the council here because there was a collapsed tree, and they just said, "Yeah, clear it, take it if you want to. You'll be doing us a favour, but just be careful." Um, but if you see the workmen or if you see those kind of people, often they'll let you just have a little bit. So if it's on public land, go and do everyone a favour and clear it up. That's my rule anyway. I'm greenhouse scrounging at the moment on Facebook Marketplace. Dean's Lost the Plot got some really good greenhouses off Facebook Marketplace. He picked up a couple of really good greenhouses from there. So I know where there's a good greenhouse going free. It's about 8 by 10. Joan, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Mousehold Heath Garden Centre, Norwich, 2.5. It's a bit far for me, Derek, but that's the sort of price that Wilco used to have. Japanese persimmons is on the next list. Sharon fruit persimmons. They're the ones that I got from Jurassic Plants a few years ago. One of the earliest videos that I actually did, planting them ones. So I got a Japanese one and I got an American variety as well. Also found 10 hanging baskets just from a local restaurant that gave me the lot. See, you're after. See, this is what I like about a lot of gardeners and a lot of allotment tiers, that everyone's got that mindset of recycling and turning something that people would be throwing away into something useful again. And we can all go out and, well, I don't think we can all do it. I couldn't do it, but a lot of people can go out and buy brand new things. But I think if we take something that's about to be thrown away, put it back to some use, we've saved it from landfill, we've saved our pockets, we're doing good. Do you know what I mean? All trees were damaged by the wind. Huge trees. They fell them for safety. It's outside car park where I work. Go and ask them. Go and ask the car park. Go and ask them. I'm sure they'll let you take something. But yeah, if it's on public land, I'd help myself. I didn't know Sharon fruit grew in England. I don't know how successful they'll be. I mean, but they are surprisingly hardy plants. And if they grow in some of the colder climates in America and they grow in some of the colder climates in Asia, I think they'll be all right. No, thank you. I'm not going live with anyone. You mentioned aquaponics, my allotment. We had a lad who did it and it works out really well. His polytunnel had loads of lettuce, radish, and other greens growing. See, if I can get these trays, if I can get these trays that from the building, honestly, they're about 4 foot long. They're the perfect growing bed. So if I was going to make, like a small growing bed at the side of a old wall or something, they'd be absolutely perfect. And because of the height, you can stack them. So you sort of stack them in steps. So one feeds into the other. I think they'd be really good. I think that sort of thing would work really, really well. Every now and then we get a bag of spent compost left near the allotments, so they just gently. So there's growers who have used it, just come and drop it off. I mean, huge, probably over 100 years old. See, I'd have them. I'd be all over them. I'd be waiting for yeah. Um, see, I've seen some of the aquaponic systems in Australia where they use ebb and flow pumps, so they make the pumps quite complicated. I was just thinking, like if anyone's kept fish and you've had fish tanks with a sump underneath, right? And so the sump is generally divided into sections where the water flows over and then under and then over. So if you design the container in a similar way, so the water's flowing over and under, and then just fill each section with lacquer balls, the sump will be catching a lot of the debris. You could just have it on a constant flow through, rather than having to have it as a ebb and flow type of system where it fills up and then empties out, fills up and then empties out, and then you can incorporate that into an ornamental pond or something, and then it can just form a waterfall. If I get these containers, I'll get it set up this year, and we can have a go and we'll watch it working. So what else we got? Rob, I'd be having the compost. Yeah, definitely have that compost. Bought exotic fruits last week for the seeds. Logan, similar to lychee, namdok mai, dragon fruit. Did you manage to save the seeds from dragon fruit? Because dragon fruit, they look absolutely amazing. Do you know? Last time I was in Bangladesh, they had dragon fruit, because we get dragon fruit here, but the flesh is white. And over there, they had a dragon fruit, but the flesh was pink. It was the sweetest one. Like the one over here, it's like a little bit underwhelming. It's a little bit watery. But those ones that I had over there they were absolutely spot on, really sweet. CCC, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. So who we've got a few people watching on TikTok. Hope you're all good. You watch me on YouTube, so I'm live across YouTube and on TikTok at the minute. So if you, because a lot of people come in and say on TikTok and think, how many, they come in and say, who am I talking to? Because they don't realize I'm across two platforms. But yeah, I hope you're keeping well. Um, yeah, got them in all three colours of dragon fruit. Oh, wicked. I've had my plots just over 10 years. Yeah, the white one, the white one you get over here quite a bit, and it tastes like water. Sarah, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Um, so you were number 300 when you applied for your allotment, and now you're number 10. See, that's some waiting, isn't it? See, that's taken some effort. But how long have you been on that waiting list? Did you say 4 years? Yeah, guys, do what Graham says. Hit that like button if you haven't already hit it. User wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. It was all taken during lockdown, but now most of them have left. So got a few empty ones. A lot of people got into gardening during lockdown. You know, a lot of people got into gardening. Like a lot of YouTubers saw this massive bubble of subscribers, of views, and then some people have managed to keep it up. You know, some people have kept up with gardening after lockdown, but a lot of people, once they've realised they've got back to work and they've got back to life and everything else, they've given up gardening again. But I suppose life gets in the way for a lot of people, but it'd be nice to get some of those people back into gardening. Um, I'm good. I hope you are too. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm quite excited actually. Um, and you know, I was doing a little walk around Hare Hills the other day. Well, someone called me out because they've got this vineyard, and if you've seen terraced houses, you know, like they have terraced houses back to backs, and every four houses they have a vineyard. And I went out to see this one person who lives in these terraced houses, and her vineyard gets dumped. You know, people just fly tip it all the time. And then the council come out and empty it out. And she's not in the best of health. And one of the things that I thought we could, you know, if we could get enough people, would go out and turn that into a garden for her. You know, we get some pallets, put up a little bit of fencing out of pallets, and maybe put up make a few beds, and those people, they don't have gardens. The houses are really dense, you know, densely populated. Being a nice little example of what a vineyard could be used for. I just need some human beings to help me. So if anyone's up for it, if anyone ever wants to come by Leeds and help transform a vineyard, yeah. I have 3 barrel style pots, goldfish in the bottom, minnows in the middle, gravel in the bottom. Plants do well, pumps from the base. Ben, is that outside garden? Outside pond? I would if I lived in the UK. See, no, just keep us in your doors and we'll get it done, inshallah. But I want to, if you ever see some of the houses in Hare Hills, green space is something really limited. So if we could find ways of preserving whatever little green space we have, or transforming some of it, that'll be amazing. Arthur Morgan, is the least I could do, man. Is the least I could be doing. There's so much more that needs to be doing. I'm in London tomorrow on the big demo. Graham waited 9 years for his plot. Um, so there's a plot next to my mum. They dug it, prepped it, planted, covered, etc., etc., and then just left it all go to seed. So, brother, I have to go. Good New Year, and thanks very much for coming in and spending some time with us. We're live every Friday. You keep yourself safe and keep yourself well, and inshallah, we'll see you again. Great. I knew Graham would be up for it. Let's find a couple of people who would be up for it, and we'll find some resources, and we'll get on it. We'll really get on it. I'm sure. If we've got a few YouTubers involved, we could all turn it into like a YouTube garden rescue type of thing, and everyone could make a video about how they went and helped this poor old lady with a vineyard garden project. Yeah, I think that would be a brilliant idea. I'll ring you in a week about being able to help, but limited our. Bob, just the support would be amazing. If we do set a date for it, if we get a few people, I mean, when people just turn up and when there's a crowd about, whether you're actually being able to do something physically or not, if there's a crowd there, it just makes things even easier. Like, if I was doing it on my own, I'd be bored out of my mind. But if there's someone just chatting in my ear while I'm doing it, or someone you can have a little joke with while you're doing it, yeah, it just turns it into a bit more of a fun time. Because we did something similar a few years back. If you guys know Brian, he's another YouTuber. He's not in the best of health. So me and Dean went down and helped fix up his polytunnel and fix up. He was having trouble getting from his house to his polytunnel. Through because the ramp that they put in, or he had a builder put a ramp in for him so he can get his wheelchair from his back door to his polytunnel. But it just wasn't, it wasn't working right. So me and Dean went out and we fixed up this ramp, made sure he had a smooth run straight from his back door to his polytunnel, fixed up his polytunnel, planted a load of stuff up for him. Yeah, it was a really cool day. Dean made a video about it. I made a video about it. So if we can get a few people and a few YouTubers, it'll be wicked. Um, there's a big place for community growing for a lot of people. The commitment of allotment isn't much. See, do you know? I was trying to get some. There's been some scrap land in Gipton for years and years. Ever since I've been here in Leeds, for the last 20 years, the land's been scrap. Last year, I started making noise about it. About saying, look, we want this for community growing. We want to turn some of it into allotments. We want some of it into a community garden. So I've been firing emails off, since last year. And no one's ever replied to my email. No one's ever said, yes, you can, no, you can't. We'll talk to you about it. We'll do something. Just before Christmas, I hadn't been back down for a few weeks. And just before Christmas, I drove down, or my wife drove down, and she goes, do you know that land you were trying to get from the council? They're building on it. So they flattened it all, and pretty much loads of empty space that was just abandoned for years and years and years. It was fly tipped on. It was, caravans used to move onto it. It was just an eyesore, that piece of land, overgrown like a big jungle. They're starting to build. They're building on them now. So in an already densely populated area, they're just taking away those last little bits of green space. So if I think it's Hull that's done it. They've done this. The council's brought in this legislation called Right to Grow. So what it does is it allows you to claim unused council land for food growing projects. So if you're in any areas where there's empty council land, you could potentially claim the land under right to grow. Different councils are trialing it or thinking about it or playing with it. So if you can get a few community people together, that's what. There's a couple of last bits of land I've seen in Gipton that's been left abandoned, and rather than do it quietly and fire off emails to people, I'm gonna make some serious noise about it this time. Um, Chiku, aka sapodilla, tastes like brown sugar, a bit like the durian I've. Have you got durian fruit? To give to see, I've never tried durian fruit. I mean, we have a lot of jackfruit, but never tried durian fruit. Our community plot is open this spring every Saturday for free educational wellbeing sessions. See, Ben, do you know like what you're talking about with the community gardens sometimes, right? People sometimes plant community gardens, but I've seen a few planters that they do around Oakwood, and they do some in Chapel Allerton. Some of these groups they plant up stuff, but they make a big fuss about when they plant stuff up, but people aren't allowed to just pick from it, and the groups don't always have the time to go and pick from it. Now, if people were allowed to pick from it, or local people from the community were shown how to pick from it, that'd be, stuff wouldn't go to waste. It'd be used, what they're actually planting and growing would actually get eaten. I think there's a bit of a disconnect on that side of things. I don't know if that's the same where you are. See, Graham Hull's brought that right to grow idea. We donate all food weekly to charities that cook for the hot wicked. See, just put a simple fence. See, it's one side that, Rob, the vineyard, it's got metal fencing on this side, but for some reason they've knocked the wall down on that side, so people throw stuff over on that side. So a metal, a little simple fence in there just to raise the height up so people can't dump stuff as easily. And it's got a small wall on two sides, so maybe a planter across both walls, a foot high, a foot and a half wide. That'll give them a little bit of green space to play, grow in, and then people can take the chairs in there and go and sit there, have some flowers, maybe even have a bit of veg. I think if we could do something like that, we wouldn't need loads and loads of stuff either. Maybe 3 lengths of deck board would do it, 3 or 4 lengths of deck board. Yeah, I think it'd be really feasible to do on a really low budget. So durian fruit is very smelly, off onion smell, but the taste is unusual. I have to throw away 30 quid for a slice. I got 500 grams. I thought I might be getting a full fruit, but not. See, things like that over here, like same with jackfruit. If you buy a jackfruit over here, you're paying like £15 a kilo, and then half of that is wasted on the skin and all the other little bits that you can't eat except the actual fruit. So you might get a plate full of fruit for 10 quid if you're lucky. So I feel your pain with that. Jackfruit is, it's the Bangladeshi national fruit. So for us, it's something really special. See, funny. Was only thinking about getting it. See, what's that awkward? Roundy, Roundy something it's called, that manages that. But they do the harvest, the planting, and they do all of the displays and stuff. That's brilliant, really well done. But it's the harvesting that it feels like there's a bit of a disconnect. Because it's REAP, Roundy Environmental Protection or something like that. REAP, REAP. Because I sent them a couple of messages about getting involved a few times, and I don't know what happened to that. Ron, how are you doing? I hope you're keeping well. Ron, we're starting up open mic season again, so we're going to be getting people up to have chats. So if you ever fancy coming up again, it'll be good. We'll get a few people and we'll get some chats going. So it won't just be me that you're listening to, but you can hear a few of us talking. But it'd be good to have you up on here, Ron. There's some sort of law that if land is vacant for so many years, you can claim it. Adverse possession. So it's not just vacant land. It's if land is vacant, and then you can prove that you've been on that land for 10 years. So if you've been on some land for 10 years and you've been using that land, and you can prove that you've been using that land, then you can claim that land via adverse possession, it's called. A friend in Wales had some cut down a load of trees on a far end of his sister's property, and we put some fences in. He wasn't happy. See, do you know the guy at the bottom of my garden? The guy at the bottom of my garden, when I moved into this house, what he'd done is he'd built. Graham, I showed you when you came up. So you know those concrete panels, concrete posts you get, and you get those fencing panels. So what he'd done is he'd built a concrete fence like that, and he brought his garden, extended his garden into mine, and taken about 2.5-3 meters of my garden. So I had two corners and then a chunk missing. And then I had to have a massive battle with him to try and get that bit of land back. Because he was trying to claim it. Yeah, I'm free as long as it's not snowing in Ohio, Cleveland. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll give you a shout. The thing, message this account. Can't message anymore like we used to be able to. Because you used to be able to message from YouTube account to YouTube account, but they've taken that off. I bought from my local shop a full jackfruit that was for £35 grown. The seeds, and they grow very quickly, amazing to look at. But unfortunately, the winter killed them 2 years ago. I've got some jackfruit trees. The longest I've managed to keep jackfruit alive was about 4 years. So every year we plant a few, and then we grow a few, keep them alive for a little bit, and then they disappear again. They die. The problem is sometimes it's not necessarily the cold that kills them, it's the lack of light during winter. That's the thing that causes the biggest harm for them. So yeah, that's one of the sad things about it. But 4 or 5 years, I think, is the longest I managed to keep a jackfruit alive. Becky, when I didn't notice you coming, hope you're keeping well. Derek, thanks for coming in and having a chat and sticking around for a bit. We'll see you again soon. Hope everything's good with you. Yeah, REAP, see, Roundy Environment, something. But yeah, they're the ones who look after it, because they're the ones who are looking after the Oakwood market as well. Um, but what's that? Incredible Edibles. They do quite a bit. They do quite a few things as well. Um, so you didn't know YouTube plays. It's something that they brought in a little bit not so long ago. Um, but yeah, have a chat with them, Bob. See if you what, get involved with them, because it'll be good to have some sane voices on there as well. So all is good with you. How the seedlings doing? So some of my chilies are actually starting to pop up. My aubergines have popped up. I need to get the lights turned on. So it's that time of the year where I start fighting with my wife about having about taking over a shoe cupboard again, because her shoe cupboard doubles as my grow cupboard. So every year about this time, we have this fight about me taking over a shoe cupboard. Um, she always lets me in the end, and then she gets it back around May time. So for about 4 or 5 months of the year, I sort of hijack her shoe cupboard and turn it into my grow cupboard. Um, so she seemed a bit stressed today, so I didn't want to bring up the subject. But over the next few days, I want to bring it up. Does that say lemon genie? Is that, have I said that right? How are you doing? I hope you're keeping well. What will be the first seedlings you plant this year? So normally I start planting my seedlings in about December, and I go with onions and chilies. I've been a little bit late this year, and so last week I planted my onions and chilies, and they've started to germinate. But I'll keep my chilies under grow lights for a good couple of months before I plant them. Before I pot them up and transplant them and all that sort of stuff. But onions I'll grow on a windowsill, and they'll go into a cold greenhouse as soon as they're big enough. Broad beans you can plant now. Some carrot varieties you can plant if you've got a warmish greenhouse. It doesn't have to be heated, but a warmish greenhouse. What else? Lettuce you can plant. So there's quite a few seeds. If you go onto my YouTube account, I just did a video about it. Do you know? Do you know why I called the video controversial? Because there's loads of people posting about you shouldn't be planting seeds in January. Some people have actually messaged me directly. So some people have sent me messages saying, why am I telling people to plant, or why do I tell people to plant seeds in January? It's not the time. Charles Dowding says you shouldn't plant anything before March. So you should. So you. Someone even sent me a message saying you're leading people astray, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm leading people astray. I'm a gardener. I'm not a bloody antichrist. Um, have you ever made full medams with your broad beans? I made that with my money, and it was lovely. I don't know what that is. Tell me what you mean by that, because I don't know. I've not heard of that. It's an Egyptian dip. Do you know what? Um, let me stick that into Google, and then I can have a read about that afterwards. So you've given me something to go and have a look at in a bit. So I'm gonna go and have a look at that and see what I can come up with. But I've never made it, and you've actually introduced me something. It's like hummus made with brown bean instead of chicken. Ah, okay, okay, okay. See, see, I saw someone make hummus made with peas, and they called it hummus. It's like, you know, hummus is the Arabic word for chickpea. So you can't make hummus with broad beans. Oh, sorry, you can't make hummus with peas because peas are something else. They're not hummus. Hummus is chickpeas. But cooked in a pan with tomatoes and stuff. Uh, it's so Becky, exactly. It's so fun in planting in January. It is a lot of fun because everyone's dying to get something planted. You're itching, so why not? Do you know, have a bit of fun, enjoy it. Do you know, enjoy yourselves. My allotment was nearly stolen from me. My allotment changed hands from council to community allotment. New lady took the old man's plot because he had to. No, they tried to take your allotment off you. Make PRs with broad bean. No, where you're telling me about new stuff here today? I'm gonna put that in as well. Turkish cooking. Are you Turkish? Beans, onions, olive oil, tahini, onions. See, Saeed Zaman wa alaikum assalam. Would a normal lamp work if I do not have grow lights? See, I talked about this earlier. So if you a normal lamp, you can buy a bulb. You know they're about 10-15 quid to buy a grow bulb, and it'll fit into a normal light fitting. So buy yourself a bulb, and it'll do exactly what you need. And they're LED as well, so they work really well. But a normal lamp will be better. But the grow lights, the thing about them is they have a lot. The light frequency that they send out is a lot more red and a lot more blue. So they're a lot better for the plants. Um, so I think I saw Indigit coming before. I don't think I said hello to you. I thought I saw your logo, but I don't think I said hello to you. Uh, so also the outboiled egg chopped up, and don't forget lemon juice. Oh, man, you getting me hungry, man. You getting me hungry. Uh, Early grow is 100% correct. Makes far stronger earlier. You get a jump on the season. All right, some things like chilies and especially super hots, you have to. If you're in a climate like mine, you have to grow them early. If you don't grow them early, you're not going to get a decent harvest. I've grown them in March before. I've sown them in March, and you get a handful of them. Whereas normally I'm getting baskets full of them. The Antichrist gardener. So I'm just thinking. I'm trying to lose weight. See, I'm always trying to lose weight. I don't win very often, but I'm always trying. I'm never quite succeeding. Last year I was doing quite well. I went to the gym and everything. I went to the gym for a solid 6 months. I didn't lose a lot of weight, but I got into a good shape. And then over this winter, and once harvest season came, I was getting back into my harvesting potatoes and making chips. So I was making chips all the time, and I piled the pounds back on. So I need to start losing weight again. Um, but hopefully I'm out leafleting regularly. So I'm walking. Like today, I did. How many steps have I done? I've done about 12,000-ish steps. Uh, I've done nearly 14,000 steps today, so that's pretty good for me. Um, I've got a load of dawn and giant redwood seeds, nothing sprouted yet. Giant redwood is in the big trees. Is that right? You can plant all year round, just depend. Exactly, exactly. I plant garlic in November. I see. I like planting my garlic in about October, because November sometimes the ground freezes and it's harder to get your seed, your seed in. Uh, so I'm doing 3-4-3 formula: boiled egg, three breakfast, 4 lunch, 3 boiled eggs for breakfast, 4 boiled eggs for lunch, and 3 for dinner. Is that right? You lost 5 kilos in 1 week. I don't know if I could eat that many eggs. Um, um, so plus if you have the right conditions, you can grow. That's exactly what I say, Rob. So there's some things you can grow without equipment. There's some things you can grow without lights, without heat mats, without any sort of equipment, even without windowsills. You can grow it outside, even in winter. Um, yeah, Ben, I completely agree with that. See, starting off seedlings, potting them up, getting them up to the right size, and then once you're ready, then you plant them out. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. Liz popped in to say hello. Hope you're keeping well. Nasty lady told me I don't need 2 small 6x5 and the other one triangular. She wanted the small one for flowers, and I don't need 2 plots. How did you win in the end? Want some good weight. See, cooking. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm in the same boat as you, my brother. See, I had they do these health checks every now and then. I had one last summer, and I've come out of that obese category, but I'm into that slightly, overweight category. But I'd done I'd done really well last year. So 110 kilos last week, 105. What was your target weight? Um, yeah, the redwoods grow a meter a year. I was going to sneak them into some neglected patches of land, and for the sake of giant redwoods of London. Ben, you've got to do it. Do you know, if you find some space at the edge of a wood or something like that, or the edge of a park, giant redwoods of London. People will be talking about Ben, the giant redwood planter, for years, or just leave it as a mystery. Who planted these giant redwoods? Um, so I've overwintered Aji lemon chili plant without pruning and still have it leaves under my grow light. It's doing well so far. If only I could keep it saved till the end of the month. If you've done it like that, you're not far away from it, from time to wake it up. Um, you know, January, February, March, you're gonna start getting nice weather again. So yeah, they'll go, yeah, yeah. For March, you're gonna get nice weather again, nice sun again. They'll do all right, and they'll produce better in the second year rather than in the first year. Once I'm 80 kilos, I'll take it easy. Got kids, so I need, yeah, um, yeah, I'm with you. See, cooking, not about 10 years ago, I used to be in a wheelchair. So the way I'm moving about as much as I am now, it's like every day is a blessing. Uh, how many kgs are you? You can guess, but I'm not 86 kilos. What's that in stones? 86 kg in stone. Let's have a look. 86 kg in stone. No, I'm not that heavy. Yeah, I'm not that heavy. A stone less than that. If that's right, 86 kg in stone, that's just 13.5 stone. No, I'm not that heavy. Yeah. Zuleika, Jodo's Popo, that's the plant that I was thinking of before, you know. Toss stones, I don't think I said hello to you when you came in. Hope you're keeping well. So I've got 5 3-year-old in a pot with some more about to sprout with these. Will these new seedlings cope with planting out? Wait till they're a bit older. Wait till they're a little bit bigger and easier to handle. You know, with young trees, depending on the condition, depending on what competition they're going to have outside as well, grow them on so they're a little bit. What's the word that I'm looking for? So they're a little bit tougher. You know, when they're really tender, they can be outcompeted by other things in the ground, where they can have adverse effects on them really easily. So wait for them until they're a little bit tougher. It's worth taking the risk, especially now being 40 years on. Ben, exactly. The giant redwoods of London. That'll be awesome. Absolutely brilliant. So Rob's 96 kg and proud. But Rob, you've got the height for it though, man. See, I haven't got the height for it. There's been a few people, Ben, who've popped in and out. So different people have popped in and different people have popped out. But we're doing good. Right, we're past the 9 o'clock mark. I got chatty and I didn't keep an eye on the clock. So I'm gonna go and join the kids because I'm some well I actually turned 42 today. So I'm gonna go and join the kids for some birthday pizza, I think. I used to fight at 74 kg. See, I was not Ben, Graham, featherweight, man. I was boxing at featherweight. It was quite nice. It was really nice actually because I got home from work, and my wife and kids, what they'd done is they'd made this nice meal. So roast lamb, roast potatoes that are dug out of the garden, proper home style pilau. What else was there? And the woman from next door, she'd made homemade baklava as well. So proper baklava as well. Yeah, that baklava. She brought in like a big tray of it, a massive tray of it. There's less than a quarter of that tray left. I thought it'd last a little bit, but it got devoured. Thanks everyone for the chat, and we'll be back next week. So I'll see you then. Until that time, you guys all take care, and I'll see you all then. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, that's not the right button.